All right, so we're going to bring Hillary on right now. How are you doing, Hillary? Thanks for joining tonight.
I'm awesome.
You're a
Hi.
rock star. Yeah, she's got shakers and
Girl,
everything. Like, I
this
was
is
like,
like,
dude, I didn't even know we're like having a gig here and everything. Like, there's a special performance.
oh
Hillary
yeah.
came. Hillary came with a performance. That's awesome. And like, you have your whole like setup behind you. You've got like a
Yeah.
baby grand
Oh,
behind
look,
you. Oh,
there's
look at
you.
this. Oh my God.
Woo! See,
Yes, that's so awesome.
there
And
you
we
are.
just talked about that too with
Yes.
Nicole and her
She was
amazing
awesome, by the
design
way.
artwork.
That
She
was an
is
incredible
awesome.
story. Yeah.
Yeah, she's great, dude. She's amazing. So we were just talking, and I was like, okay, we need to introduce you to everybody. But before we get into your whole history of music and everything else, I wanted to talk a little bit about our history with Breast Cancer Can Stick It, because you and I connected early on with Breast Cancer Can Stick It. We only became a 501c3 nonprofit in 2013, and it was 2014 when you and I first started doing some things together. But how did you first hear about Breast Cancer Can Stick It?
You. It's all about you. um, and am I going to get to see you at all or no?
No, you're not going to be able to see me. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. I'm
yeah.
sorry I interrupted,
It's okay. It's okay.
but it's all about you, babe. I went and saw you in Middle Shop at Wizards. And then I became like a fan and was coming out there and watching all the time, taking friends out. I was like, oh my gosh, these guys are incredible. So you blew my mind. You were like so uber talented, playing the drums back there. I was like, it's a rocker check. This is so cool. And
I
then you
didn't
came
even
up
pay
and
you to say that. Like,
no,
I
but
mean,
it's
I gotta owe
true.
you money for this one.
No,
Are you sure?
no, girl, it's all about you.
Stop.
I'm serious. I just thought you were so amazing and just so real. And you came out there, you sang a song up front, were cracking me up. And then you went back and you drummed some more. I was like, man, I've always wanted to drum. I don't know how you do it because it's like, you know, how you rub your belly and do this and you go in a circle. I can't do all that stuff at the same time. I'm like,
The coordination factor isn't there.
big time. I don't know how you do it. So, but at any rate, so that's how I met you and just became a big fan through that. And then we do this fine arts day thing, or did do this fine arts day thing at my school. And oh my gosh, it was so hard. We would have 70 people come in from the outside, and the entire day was 700 kids walking around the school, going from one event to the next. And so let's see, that's 30 classes, all 30 classes and 70 staff I had to coordinate and then coordinate all the people. And they were all my connections and it was for free. So I had hit you up and you said yes and I couldn't believe it. And you were like the big moment, you know, like where the kids are going around class to class into different rooms. You were the moment where they would come out. They came out twice for you, half the school at one time and then half the school again. And you rocked the schoolhouse for real. And it was amazing that you did that. And that was, I guess, just that 1 year of you just starting this. And so that's how I found out. And then Paige Nally, a friend of yours and mine, has battled with cancer, and that's just kind of kept you kind of prominent there for me. And then this past year, sadly, my best friend from college, my roommate, she passed, and they just didn't catch it soon enough. So it was such a weird thing too, how that all happened. But she was amazing. She was a teacher as well. She owned her own school through her mom, and they all had shirts and were just really going for the cause. And she just was amazing. She was a light, and I just thought that's the best way that I can keep her alive is by helping other people and bringing more awareness. And so, yeah, so that's kind of that. So now I'm happy to be on this side, helping you and getting to know you and watch you do what you do.
Well, it was so cool back then in 2014, and I'm gonna dig these pictures up. I'm still looking right now, but it was one of the first speaking engagements I did, and of course, you know, when you're talking to a bunch of elementary school kids, you have to kind of gear things a little differently than you would talking to adults. So it had to be short because they weren't going to
Mm-hmm.
pay attention for very long. And I found a bunch of old photos of me when I was around their age that we had posted up on that like kind of a scrapbook wall that they could go and check out.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had to kind of word things a little bit differently. But I think it's important because, especially with just talking to Nicole, kind of instilling in kids that age to be aware of your body and to know any changes and be sure and speak up to your parents if you see anything different. So it's important to kind of get early on and tell people about that so that they can, be aware and kind of make sure that they're looking out for things.
I love what she said too about how she knows her body. She said, you just kind of know your body. And there's so many times where even myself included have had situations happen with my health, and I've had to go back and say something's not right. And sometimes you have to be a little bit more insistent, and she was really great because she listened. She was young, but she followed through on knowing her body and then making sure to keep those commitments to keep going back and being checked. And it was an inspiring story.
Yeah, totally. And I did find the pictures, so I'm gonna
Yay.
put one up here in just a second. But I was trying to think of other things that we've done because it seems like we did. I know I came out to your show when you did Ironic.
Lava
but,
Cantina. Yep.
Yeah. We had a booth, I think, right?
Yeah, you guys had a
that's
booth.
Right. Yeah.
I wore pink for the show and a breast cancer shirt because I didn't have this one at the time. But see, check it out.
Right on.
So yeah.
Heck yeah. Yep, that's very cool. All right, I'm gonna pull these pictures up because it's gonna be cool. Let me do it real quick because I think there's like 2 or 3 that I want folks to see. It's funny because it's not like I can just like magically have it on the screen.
I know. I was trying on my phone too to find it. I'll have to just respond to this when it's over with some pictures because
and. Well, I think we even took like a picture together at that one.
I think so.
So I'm gonna pull it up right now. Hold on, it's happening.
Okay.
See, and it's like, well, because here's what happened for everybody watching is we were talking and then we were like, oh, we need to show some of those pictures. And so we weren't quite ready to do it at the moment. Okay, here I go. It's happening. Hold on, man. I'm so excited right now. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Okay, wait. Almost there. Okay, I'm showing a picture right now. All right, so this is one of the photos from when we did Stinson. And yeah, it was 2014, long time ago.
I know.
And it was just such a cool and different kind of event. You can see that there's just a whole gymnasium full of kids, here we're gonna show this one here.
What you forget about, April, is that kids don't usually get a chance to go to rock shows. They really don't. And so like some parents, but it's few and far between, take their kids to those kinds of things. But for them, it was like those that had been before couldn't believe it. But then those that had not was like, oh my gosh, they've only seen it on TV. So like,
right.
Legit was rock star. Yeah.
Yeah. We're just showing a lot of the pictures from that day right now. And I think we have one here of me and you. So we're going to try to throw that one. And then we're really going to talk about what you have going on. Cause you're not a boring person. You have a few things happening.
I don't know. I'm kind of dull. I meant to have see, this is how ADD I am. I was going to have a sign that said ADD pointing to me when I got to talking too much. And I got so ADD, I forgot to make my sign. So
that's really funny. You're like, yeah, I'm too ADD to even remember.
I tell my students that at school all the time. I'm like, guys, I can say this because I am ADD. So I'm like,
right, there you go.
That was an ADD moment. So
all right. Well, we covered all the photos, so it was really cool to be able to show that. But I just love that about you and me that like we had that. It was almost 10 years ago, and then we kind of like reconnected again, and then thought of you. It was actually Lynn who met you at I think a Drummathon event.
Did.
Lynn from our Drummathon committee.
I have that.
And she was like, yeah. And see, she was like, we need to talk to Hillary about being a part of our committees and see if she would want to get involved. And we're so excited that you're involved in the Drummathon committee. Look at that. Look at that. Here, wait. Hang on. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. That's perfect. Yep, you can see it. Yep. It's right there. That's Lynn. That's so awesome.
Yep.
From Drummathon
that was
the day.
That was the moment we met. And I'm wearing a Stretz t-shirt And nobody ever knew who they were. Like I'd walk around,
Uh-huh.
nobody had a clue who the Struts were. And she did. And she came up to me,
Right.
she was like, I love the Struts. And I'm like, excuse me? You do? I'm like, okay, we're instant sisters right now. So
Yeah, yeah. She's awesome. She's our resident rock and roll historian. She's our own little Eddie Trunk. She knows a little bit about everything.
yeah,
So
she's
she's
awesome.
really great with the rock and roll. Totally cool. All right. So now we're going to switch gears and talk about you and all about you and your music career. I want to know because like there's so many people in the music community here in Dallas Fort Worth that we're all friends with and everything, but
Mhm.
we don't really ever talk about like the history of
Yeah.
those folks. So it's always fun to learn. So how did you first get involved with music?
Oh my gosh. Fifth grade. It's a crazy story. I mean, literally, this is the beginning, but Patsy Cline. There was a movie, Sweet Dreams, and I fell in love with her and her music and listened to the cassette tape and 24/7 and was singing to it all the time. And I remember singing in the back seat one day, the San Antonio Rose, Deep Within My Heart, that song. And at the very end, it goes up really high. And I remember singing it, just having fun. And my mom and dad were poking each other, going, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. They think I can sing, but I can't sing. And then it was like seventh grade. Um, my music teacher, it was Christmas time. We were singing Silent Night, and uh, the class stopped singing. And I was the only one singing, and I kind of like pulled back and looked around, and everybody was staring at me. I was really embarrassed. And then she asked me to sing a solo. So that's kind of what I really believed. Oh, I love it, but maybe I can do it. That's cool. So that was kind of
Like
it.
it's kind of like you were aware that you had this
Yeah,
talent. You just kind of
I
thought,
just liked it.
oh, it's just yeah, yeah.
It was
Like I
just in
like
my
to
heart.
sing,
Felt good. I
and
was like, yeah. So
that's so cool.
yeah, and I think that Patsy Cline was such a great vocalist that I was a good role model too for me vocally to be listening to on a regular uh whatever the word is, occasion, I don't
Basis,
know. Yeah. And
right?
I kind of was copying what I was hearing in a healthy way. So anyway, it was cool. And then, the rest is history, voice lessons and all state choir and blah 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 blah. And
So were you in choir all through like grade school
mhm,
into high
mhm.
school and
Played
then like did you
violin.
wow, I didn't know you
Yeah,
played
I
violin. Did you
know,
play violin with the because you have your
a little
winter's
bit.
night TSO experience. Do you
No,
play
I
that?
didn't, but I told them next year if they want me to, I could. You're gonna
So
laugh,
cool.
April. You're gonna really laugh about this. Here's like the truth. Like I will just tell the ugly, the good, the bad, the ugly. I will tell it all. But
Mhm.
I, what ended up happening after college, I got married super young. Fell in love, super young, got married, and then 18 months later had my first child, and then 18 months after that had the next one, and then when the second one was two, when they were 4 and 2, we divorced. And so I was a single mom, raising the kids. And so I had to go back to school.
So how old were you at that time when you
Gosh,
had
I
the 2 and
was
the 4-year-old?
21 when I had him.
Wow.
Yeah, I was young. And then when we
Yeah.
divorced, I guess I was like 25. Yeah. I
Wow.
mean, my
Yeah,
my
that's
kids
crazy,
just got
right?
married, and I can't imagine them having kids of their own. They're wonderful and mature.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, wow, looking at them, thinking, I can't believe I went through a divorce,
Right,
almost by
right.
this age. It's just crazy. But
Yeah, yeah.
I got along with their father and stuff, and but it paved the way having to be a single mom. I had to find something I could do that I love. So I went back to school and finished the long way. And my kids saw me going to college, staying up, doing all nighters when they were itty bitty, and was there at my graduation. And then I came out here and moved here. So in between that time, I had done a little bit of modeling and acting and had an agent and stuff. That was like
Well, what did you go to school for? What was your
music
major
education.
in?
Well, first it was performance. And
Uh-huh.
then once I got married and stuff and trickled off, when I went back, I went for education thinking I'm not going to be able to tour and do things. My kids are my life. I'm going to have to, you know, have music in my life, but do something that I can provide for these kids and not be away from them. So the coolest thing happened. I had been teaching some modeling twice a week at this school in Fort Worth. And this photographer came in asking for a vocalist. And they were like, oh, well, one of our teachers sings. And so he left a card and they hit me up and they said, would you, be interested in doing this rock and roll band? And I laughed. I was like, no. I'm like, I don't sing like that. And I did musicals and opera. That was the way that I kind of went after the Patsy Cline stuff. So the thought of doing rock and roll, I was like, there's no way I could ever do that. And so anyway, it ended up that I was missing the music so badly that I found that card like 6-9 months later. And I called the guy on the card. His name was Gary Childress. And I said, hey, you still looking for a vocalist? And he said, yeah. So I went and auditioned, and I was with them for 20 years.
What was that band? What was the name of that band?
Their name was Coco Bon.
Uh-huh. And was it a tell us about the band?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of
music? Yeah, it was
and...
top 40, all cover stuff, all the hits, from like the 50s all the way straight up to that. I guess when we ended was like 2017, I think. And so just everybody got older, and sadly. So, but at any rate, we had several agents, and we were opening for the Platters, the Drifters, the Shirelles, the Temptations, the Marvelettes, all kinds.
Wow, what a crazy, awesome career.
Cool.
And you said you guys did it through 2017. So there was you started teaching in school at some point during that career, right?
Yeah.
So
I kept with
hard.
them because we started right before I divorced, and I stayed with them even though I was traveling in to sing with them. It was pretty crazy. And then we got another girl to sing with us, which is cool too, because she is back with me now in a different band. So I'll have to tell you that in a second. But anyway, but I learned a lot with that group. And here's one of my pitches is vocal health, how you got to take care of your voice. It's an instrument. And I just recently have had some vocal issues from allergies in the winter that I kept talking with a hoarse voice. And I've learned, sadly, don't do that. If that goes on for 2 weeks, you could be in serious trouble. So I went through quite a bit this last 6 months or so trying to get back.
So it wasn't, a lot of times with singers or, folks who are musicians that maybe even sing backup, because like for me, I don't even know if we ever talked about this, but back in the early 90s, I think it was, I had vocal nodules, and I used to smoke cigarettes, and I was just stupid, and I sang backup, and I've never sang properly. I don't sing properly even today, honestly. And it's just a major strain on your voice. And the way I resolved the nodules was that I stopped talking for 6 weeks.
Yes.
And learned sign language, and it was really crazy. And had a voicemail thing set up on my thing where it said, I'll say press one button for yes, two for no, whatever.
Right.
Like and that's because I didn't want to have surgery. But your point is that, you sing, I'm assuming, just from the way you sound and all your learnings and things like that you sing properly. So it wasn't about that you were singing improperly. It was literally you had allergies, your voice was hoarse, and you talked through that when you shouldn't have. You should have rested your voice.
Well, as a teacher, she said, the doctor that I went to, the reason it took me longer to go in, my doctor retired. So
was it Dr. Kirkham, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was who my doctor was too back then. He's the doctor.
I know.
Vocalist, man.
And I would get my voice scoped by him once a year just to make sure everything was good. And
He's
how
amazing.
that looped in with that original band was there were times they would say, we need you to growl on this song. We want you to grind on this song. And I would say, no, you have guitars. You can go buy strings. I cannot go to the vocal store and buy new voice box. So if that's the kind of singer you want, you're going to have to hire someone else. I'm not going to do it. I won't be offended, but I'm just telling you, I'm not going to do it. So, so I've always taught that. And the irony was in my 20s, I had nodules from my talking voice. So I had been taught how to sing, but I didn't really realize that talking was something you needed to think about.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've actually been to speech therapy before because they say that I actually talk lower than I should.
Yes.
Like they said I should talk higher because talking lower is harder on
That's right.
for me. That's just not somehow. Anyway, back to you.
Nope, but
True story though.
You're
Yeah.
telling the truth.
Yeah.
And there's such a
Yeah.
I don't know what the word is, but there's a lot of people that don't want to talk about these kinds of things because they feel like, oh no, people are going to think this or that. But I think the more you talk about stuff, people can learn, because it is such a special gift. Your voice, you know, whether you're just using it to talk or sing or whatever, and nobody has that instrument, and just you. So you got to keep good care of it. But anyways, so that all
such a wonderful point, man. Yeah.
But I'll be happy to teach you sometime if you want, like just some, if like you're too busy, but if you ever have a break,
I would love it.
I would be happy to.
I would love it. I've had a lot of problems over the years where I get like, whenever I sing a lot with Metal Shop, and I can feel, I know when I'm singing wrong. I know when I'm doing throat, and I know it. And it's so funny because I remember recently I was playing a gig and I was like, I need to really, get down and be singing from here, and kind of that, like that yawn that you kind of do, right?
Yes.
And so, and what was funny is because I was having to think too much about that. It was, you know how like when you're, I know you know what I'm talking about, when you're in a band and you kind of have this muscle memory and everything's working the same way every time. And then if you change one thing of it, then your memory gets off.
Yes.
And so it was causing me to miss whatever I was doing.
And were you
with
drumming
my
at
hands.
the same time?
Yeah, that's the thing.
See, that would
it's
be
hard, and so I've got to get handle that. I would love that, girl.
I can tell
Seriously.
you, the last time we did, it might have been that show you were at. I can't remember if it was that one or one right after, but in my entire life of singing, I have never changed keys ever. That first group I was with, they had been together so long, singing with a lot of great people in the area that were semi-famous or whatever, and they were like, we learned the song in this key, we're not going to change it. And so I had to learn how to really develop this range, and so I just have never changed keys. I've learned how to make myself do things the right way and practice and whatever. And so when this whole thing happened, I had 2 shows, and I was talking to the doctor, am I going to be able to do these 2 shows, or do I need to cancel them? Because I do not want to hurt my voice. No show is worth that. I've got friends that will take that show. So is this something I can do? And they're like, yeah, you can do these 2 shows. So I was literally singing for them in the doctor's office. This is what I'm doing. This is like half voice. What do you think? I can change the key on this, down a key, and that would probably be easier for my vocal cords to deal with at the time. So that's what they wanted me to do. So my amazing band, Ironic, they were amazing. They learned everything for me all down a key. But the muscle memory you're speaking about, I'm telling you, we would be here, we practice here at my house, and we would be here, and I would go, that was wrong. That was wrong. And they're like, no, it wasn't. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that was wrong. Here's the note. And I would sing the note, and I'd go play the bass, and they'd play the note. And I'm like, okay. But the muscle memory, like, it's weird how your body does get used to things, and you can fight your brain where you're like,
absolutely,
it sounds right, but it doesn't feel right.
Right. Yeah.
So I can imagine drumming at the same time. I just can't.
No, it sucks because, like I said, I've been really, like, I think about it every time I play because I feel myself being throaty, and then I'll be, hoarse or whatever afterwards, and I just know it's bad. And another thing that's worth pointing out is caffeine is really bad.
Yes,
your voice
you're right.
too. And I'm horrible about that. And like as we're talking, I'm like, man, she's taking me to school on this right now.
And I'm a bad girl. I have my water in here, but
yeah, water's great, but like, I mean, like, all those kinds of things. So yeah. And so, okay, so you did the thing with the band, and you guys were together for 20 years, a top 40 band. Did that for like 20 years. That was over in 2017. So somewhere in there, you started teaching. So what year did you start teaching?
I started teaching here in 2007. Yeah.
Wow.
So 2007, and I brought my kids here because I felt like Plano schools were the best. I had 14 different interviews all over. My family is in Abilene, Texas. So that's where I go visit a lot and stuff like that. And so so I had done, I looked at schools there, but I really wanted my kids to be, how do I say this politically correct? I wanted them to be in a school where there was all types of different people.
Diversity.
Yes,
Yeah,
lots
a
of
diversity.
diversity.
Yeah, sure.
There was just not in all levels. There just didn't seem to be like as many handicapped children, all of it.
Yeah.
And Plano seemed to have such diversity that, and I loved the curriculum. I was like, this is where I want to teach. This is where I want my kids to be a part of, and just that'll be like normal for them to live all types of walks of life. And so I'm glad I chose that. I've loved teaching in Plano. And I guess the next thing that happened was, it wasn't that long, it was like 3 months. Music really is my medicine. It's my prescription for anything, stress, all of it. It's the only place I have found, you probably can relate, for 4 hours or whatever it's going to be, that you are not thinking about bills or stressors in your life or anything else.
Oh, like
You
it's a
are
total escape,
focused.
and it's just, yeah, you're surrounded by the vibe of music and the feeling
Yes,
of I don't know. I was gonna say love. I guess that's a little corny,
it's
but
no,
it's
but
just
I
like this
agree.
big, it's this big hug, just
It is.
between you and your bandmates and the people who are there and all the smiling and happiness that's associated with it. It's a great escape and a wonderful diversion from the day to day. Definitely,
Yeah,
100%.
it's all about being a team up there on the stage. You're working together and your brain is working in such creative ways, and then you're performing out to the crowd. And for me, it's not about how I look or what I sound like. It's about, I always feel like there's in every crowd a hater or haters, and in every crowd a whole bunch of lovers, and then there's some people that are in need. And so for me, it's like the focus is everybody, but the ones that need that escape. And if you just touch one person, meaning you've given them an escape from whatever it is, or a little bit of positivity from whatever it is in their life that they're trying to get away from for that moment, then you've done your job. And so just that feeling of getting to connect all that together, it's amazing. So I missed it, and I lucked out because this drummer, Rocky Martinez from Slim Chance Band, had noticed I wasn't really gigging out, and he reached out to me and said, "Are you still with Cocobon?" And I was like, "No, but I haven't said anything because there were some health issues, and I didn't really want, to broadcast any of that out." And he's like, "Well, we're doing auditions. So are you interested?" I said, "Sure." So I jumped on with them, and it was just great. And a total different feel, like another new little family. And wow, so supportive. Their significant others are amazing. Literally like brothers and sisters off the bat. We had just me and a guy that sang leads, and our guy got married, and his job was out of town like every week. So he left. Love you, Turner. And we miss him, but that gave me a chance to reach out to the girl that I sang with for 8 years in Cocobon. And she said yes. And I was like, so it's so cool.
What was the name of this band?
This is called Slim Chance.
Slim
So
Chance.
Slim Chance Band. We'll be at Waters Creek on the 12th, and I will be plugging all of our breast cancer constituent stuff.
Woohoo! Yes. Excellent. That's so awesome. And so is it more top 40 type of stuff, the same kind of deal? Slim Chance, cool.
Yep. Linda Ronstadt and I don't know, REO Speedwagon, you name it, all the cool stuff.
So awesome.
A lot of cool fun stuff. And Leanna's voice is like, it's like butter. She has a totally different voice than I do. She's like a Janis Joplin. She's that kind of a singer, and she just I can't do what she does. And then I'm more like a Linda Ronstadt. And so then you put us together and somehow it works, and the harmonies just blend, and it's just awesome. I just love it. So yeah,
that's so cool. It's such a blessing whenever you get to play with such talent. You know what I mean? Really.
Yes, and just good people. Yeah, talented people and good people, and yeah, I just couldn't be happier.
So how do you go about balancing, like, whenever you're a teacher and you're gigging? Are all your gigs in town? Do you just play in town shows?
No, we have some out as well. Mhm. We all, I mean, you're doing it too. It's one of those things where you have your calendars and you block off your dates of when you're here or there or whatever. It's so far, it's been working. I'm just grateful. It's been working. I'm with the Division A group, which I know we have some people in common there. Adam.
Totally. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. And then Gene Perry, who does the keyboards in Ironic, is also doing keyboards in Division 80.
Cool.
So yeah. And then Love Starved Dogs is basically made up of the guys from the Shroomville, the Allman Brothers tribute.
Uh-huh.
And so they're super cool guys. And so it's like those groups I just kind of just go around and I'm just loving every second of it. So
Well, and then that's not all you're doing though, because those are just two out of like four projects really or more. How many projects do you have
I'd
right
say
now?
four.
Yeah.
Slim Chance, Ironic, Division 80, Love Starved Dogs. And then in this Christmas time, we'll do the TSO. And then I'm doing the Dallas vocal coach thing. So
And
see,
that's
all of this though, I have to attribute David. So okay, I got to tell you
David
this one
Houston.
part.
Yep. Hit it.
Okay, you're gonna laugh at this one too. I had a blind date, 2000. I don't remember when it was. Let me think here. It was right after COVID when things just started opening back up. And so Grandscape, it might have been one of the very first shows out at Grandscape. This band was out there called Burning Sky. And so Christy Johnson was out there with her band. Of course, I didn't know her at the time. And she's on stage singing. And I'm like, oh, there's a chick that actually is singing correctly. Wow, like she's really doing it. Because a lot of times you will hear people that are doing it wrong and you're just like, oh, they're so talented, but if they would just do this one thing, they would be able to sing forever. Like you start to hear things and almost worry for them, that their future is going to get cut short or something.
Right, right.
So I was super impressed by her and the band. And I was just sitting there thinking, man, I wish I had a voice teacher out here because they always challenge you and push you into doing more. And I really miss that. And so wouldn't you know it? Okay. So by the way, the blind date did not show up. So that's the
Perfect.
one and only time that I have ever,
tried to do a blind date and then
and then it didn't work. What's it called when
they stood you up?
Yeah, stood me up. I go stood up, and now I was on the way there, so I had the choice, like turn around, go home, or keep going. I was like, forget this. I was like, I don't care. I'm going to go and have a good time regardless, and I did.
There you go. Yeah,
all
totally.
by myself. I had a blast. I've loved the music. It was just great. So, but wouldn't you know it, Christy then finishes a song and she says, but she knocked out of the park. It was amazing. And she says, I'm just so excited to have my voice coach down here in the front, Mr. David Houston, DallasVoiceCoach.com. And I'm like, what? And so I go running down to the stage thinking, I'm going to meet this guy. I'm going to set this up today. And so
awesome.
I did. And I went down there and they had it blocked off as VIP. And they're like, no, sorry, you can't come in here. And April, I wish I could remember who it was. I don't know, because now I would know this person. But whoever this nice person was sees me like looking through and saw the person tell me I couldn't go in. And it was a guy, it was a gentleman. He says, I got you. I'll take you through. She's with me, and walks me right over to David and introduces me. And I believe Lori was sitting next to David watching the show. And so, anyway, we exchanged numbers right then, and I got started taking voice from David, and he just like took me from here to here. I mean, he's phenomenal. And so then in the midst of all that, David's the reason I met, so Christy's the reason I met David, and David's the reason I met Chris, whom I'm dating, who's also the guitar player in Ironic. And he's the one who had that vision of Ironic. And so it's just been this whole massive deal. And now I'm teaching underneath David, I'm teaching the youth. So he's teaching the adults, and he has Christy and I teaching the youth. And so it's just been this, like you said, this networking of positive people.
Yeah, just wonderful people.
Yeah,
it's totally.
I remember thinking that then when I saw you with Metal Shop, how down to earth you were and how your whole band was, Shannon and all of them. I just thought, these are cool people. And then to go and meet Christy, and she was so personable, and then start going to these shows and seeing all these people from all these bands come watch each other perform
Oh
and
yeah.
support each other. I'm like,
Yes.
that's cool.
No, it's
I mean,
such a
that's
great,
freaking cool.
such a great community, music community here in Dallas. I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so true. Everybody goes to see each other and supports each other and tells everybody about other shows. I mean, it's just like a big, huge family. It's so,
Mm-hmm.
so awesome. I love it. It's very, very cool.
Yeah.
So whenever he had the vision of Ironic, he hadn't found a singer. Like, did he have that vision before y'all started dating even?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was so funny. Dave had an idea that if I started playing guitar, I could be part of this other group. And so Chris is at the Revel. Can't remember who we were watching that night. And um, Dave's like, that's the guy you want to teach you guitar. I was like, okay. So I go up to Chris and I'm like, before the night's up, like, we totally need to talk. And he's like, okay, how about now? I said, okay. So we went out and talked out on the side. And I was like, you got to teach me how to play guitar. Like, I want to go do this other deal. And he's like, okay, and he was really trying to see if I would stick with it. And so he was teaching me lessons. In the meantime, he's like, by the way, I've wanted to do this Alanis Morrisette band. Would you be interested? And I went, no. And he goes, you didn't even hesitate. Why would you even think about it? I said, she's not really my thing. And he's like, how can you say that? And I go, from what I know, she's kind of angry. I'm just not. I'm like really silly and fun. And I have these kids that I teach at school, and they're going to know the things that I do or possibly see me. And I don't want them to think that I'm like this angry person. So I can't do it. And I said, and you're only thinking about me because I have long hair. And he goes, that's not true. You can sing. I said, no, it's the long hair. So he kept bugging me about it. And I finally said, okay, look, I have made this deal in my life that I will think about things for at least 24 hours and I will pray on it. And then I'll come back to you. So will you give me the time to do that? He said, sure. I said, okay, I'll dive in and I'll pray on it and I'll get back to you. So that's what I did. And I fell in love with her. The Alanis that I thought was not the Alanis that truly is. And OMG,
I was a huge fan. As soon as she came out, before she even got big, I saw her at Trees in
I'm
Dallas
so jealous.
before she got big. I don't remember how I ran across her or whatever, and I just Jagged Little Pill. I
Wow.
just loved that album. Now, I didn't ever really get into anything beyond that, but
Mhm.
every single track on that album is
Yeah,
just freaking gold, man.
it is. And if you
Really
listen to the whole
is.
album, you're like, she's not angry all the way through.
No, no,
Like,
freaking
so
fantastic.
she is. And then in April, since then, there's other gems out there. I'll have to send you just a list of like 5 that you will love. I mean, the words are so powerful and stuff that I will just listen to if I'm having a moment. There's something for every moment you can think of, and it just makes you feel better. And I'm just like, the one that sold it for me, there were 2. And then this is something that some of the band members don't like me to share, but they get a little teary-eyed when we play one song. And so Just As We is, or Not As We is one of them. And then there's this one called Ablaze that she wrote for her kids. And when we played for Grandscape, our first show was at Grandscape. That was like, whoa, the
What an
heavens
amazing
opened,
first gig.
right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Exactly.
Yeah. Crazy.
And I couldn't believe it. And so, yeah, and they called us and said, will you do this? We're going, sure. We were like, hustling. We had been practicing for a couple months, but we were hustling to really get it where we wanted it to be. And yeah, it was amazing. So it was cool because I told my kids I wanted them to fly out to see this show. I said, you got to come to this first show. I'm so excited. And so they came, and they had no idea. I made a slideshow behind me on that huge screen with my kids in it that went with the words of the Ablaze song.
Oh, I love that.
It
That's
was
so
so
awesome.
cool to see their little faces out there when it started. Like, they both looked at the screen and then they're both hitting each other like, Achoo. It was so cute.
That's so awesome, man.
So it was
That is
really
so
cool.
awesome.
So anyway, I couldn't be more grateful for him nagging at me, because if I had just shut it down with that first initial I never would have experienced all this. She's phenomenal. Phenomenal writer in person.
When did Ironic begin? What was the year?
It was, we're in 2023. So our first performance was not this March, but the one before. So 2022. So he asked me in November, December of 2021. We got the whole band formed in January of 2022. And then we had our first show March 2022.
That's
awesome. Why we were like, in 2 months,
yeah.
We're like, yeah, we can do that. So
you made it happen. And then this, I mean, the TSO Experience, the Winter's Night, I mean, whenever I saw that you guys were doing that, and then the amazing lineup of talent, I was just like, we had to be there. And what was funny was you guys had a date booked. Yes. And then your drummer got really sick, I think it was.
He did.
And you guys had to cancel it. And the original date, I had to be out of town. And so I was like going to miss it. And I was just like so upset that I was going to miss it. I think I had even bought tickets or something. Something happened. I had to be out of town. It might have been a gig or something. I can't remember what it was.
Probably, yeah.
And then whenever you guys had to cancel and reschedule, the rescheduled date I could make. And so
cool.
we went to that. And I mean, building a band to tribute TSO, I don't know if anybody has ever done that before, because that is such a huge experience. And I just have to tell you a little bit of background. Like Mary told me a few years ago, she's like, you need to see TSO. I didn't even know who they were. I had no idea. I kept thinking of what was it called? Anaheim Steamroller.
That's what I was gonna say. Or the that one. What's the other one?
Starts with a P. Pentatonics? Is it Pentatonics? Is that who I'm thinking of? There's that.
But you might be thinking of the Electric Light Orchestra.
Yep.
I would get them ELO mixed up with TSO.
All of them confused. Yep. Yeah. And so I just never really realized what it was about. And like, I don't even know when I went to the concert. It was like two or 3 years ago. I don't even know if I had an understanding of what it was till I got there. Like, I started looking up who was in the band and then realizing the history and how it came to be. And I was like, oh my God, my mind was just like blown.
I know.
And it was Blas Elias from Slaughter was on drums. And I was just like, whoa, just everything blew me away. And so after I saw that concert and then you guys posted that you guys were going to do that, I was like, no way. That's going to be some freaking work right there. Because how many members or how many people that not necessarily members, but there was like 15?
There was like 3 keyboards and drummer and how many singers? Like 6. And then
because I mean, you were involved. Christy Johnson was involved. There was another
Christy's
female.
Pretty much the organizer. She was the one with the big vision.
Gotcha.
And then,
yeah.
And
David and Terry Murphy sang on one. I remember that.
Terry Murphy was there, and then the guy that lives in Austin. Oh, I can't believe I blinked on his name. He's so cool. I'm gonna be so mad at myself after.
It's okay. We'll add it in the comments afterwards or something.
Yeah. He's right in my head with the hat and everything. But anyway, I'm so mad. And he comes to town often and performs at the Glass Cactus. But anyways, it was a bunch. And then of course, Renee was on bass. And of course, Glenn played all kinds of stuff. And then Mr. Cool Hair, blonde guitar player from, see, I'm blanking on everybody. It must be nerves.
Oh, I am too, because I know exactly who you're talking about.
From Even It Up.
Even It Up and
Burning Sky and all that.
We suck. We're gonna get so fired. We have to change the subject so that we don't linger on this. No, so there was like 15 of you guys, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, how do you even organize rehearsal like that? Was that Christy. Just crazy?
That's Christy, and of course, Mr. Amazing Guitar Player. So I love you. I'm so sorry.
We suck.
Like, I go to their shows and I chant his name, and I'm like, what is wrong with me right now?
I know. I'm doing the same thing. I'm gonna go find it so we don't look so bad. So I want to know, for this TSO thing, how long was it from the point at which you guys put it together and started rehearsing before your first gig? How many months did you guys work on that?
Well, so the initial started with like keyboards and guitars, and they were and bass. You know, they were doing their own thing for several months, I think. And Mr. Cool had been playing. He had played it once before, so he kind of had his head wrapped around it, you know, a lot about how he wanted things to go. And Christy had her vision of it too. So they were pretty much, you know, but I mean, she was really the networking, the whole reason it happened. But then he just balanced that so nicely. So I don't know how many months they did before they got us on board to sing. But we were kind of the last part brought in, and it was just cool. When she came to me, someone else had dropped. I don't remember who it was. Or maybe they didn't even tell me, I'm not sure, but they had a show come up or something. And so she says, I know you're so busy with all these projects. I hesitated even to ask. I was like, no, I want to do this. That would be so cool. And so, and I'm glad I did. It was just such a great experience. And to make music with all those incredible musicians. It was awesome.
Phil,
thank you.
We did it.
Phil, I love you, dude.
Phil.
Please don't be mad at me.
He's gonna be mad. Here, I'm gonna run through the people here. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna let's see. I think I can actually show this. I'm gonna show this on the screen. So
Nick on keys.
So there's Phil right there, and I'm gonna scroll through these people. Let's see. We got Phil, Christy Johnson. Let's see. I'm scrolling through. Brian Martini.
Yeah, he was drums. Yep.
Let's see. Glenn Johnson. Of course.
Mr. Everything.
Terry Murphy, who's also with the Breast Cancer Contingent Band. I have to
That's right. That's right. And he and I had so much fun on the sidelines dancing.
He's so silly and fun. He's so much fun. And such a talent too. Very talented. Nick Shovlin on keyboards.
He was so cool because he had to jump in last minute for us in Ironic. Because of TSO, I met him and said, can you come play a show for us in like 2 weeks? Because our keyboard player he was out of town. And so he did. He learned all that stuff.
That's so awesome.
Fast. He was awesome. Yeah. So yeah.
And then there's Brian again, David Houston, of course. Yes.
Oh, and then the blonde girl.
Oh, we got Norris Perry, who was the narrator.
Was the narrator. He was, he sings. He's got a beautiful voice too.
Wow. He's got a sharp picture here. Oh yeah, we got Tiffany Bell.
Yes, Tiffany.
Yep. She was amazing. I remember her. Yes. Really great. And I know that you're in it too. And I know somewhere in these, there's some shots from some rehearsals that we're scrolling through right now. Robert Wagner.
Oh yeah, that's the guy. That's the dude from Austin. That was the hat that I was talking about. Yep. That performs at Glass Cactus and stuff. Yeah.
So amazing. And there's you, Hillary, right here. What a cool shot too. That's a great photo. And Jeremy Thornton from Burning Sky Band. Jeremy's awesome.
Sorry, Jeremy. I love you too.
We love you. Jurgen Horn.
Yes. He plays with Lori.
And there's Renee.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I have to beat up Renee and take like the shirt, the thing he wore the night that you guys played. Oh, it was such a cool shirt thing. I don't even want to call it a shirt. It's like a vest or something. It's very rock and roll.
Oh, he had the coolest stuff that he wore even at the rehearsals. He was like, somebody hand painted this for me. And he and I play words together on the phone. So we met at that and we've stayed word buddies, but he lives out of town as well. I think Houston. So yeah.
Oh yeah, he's all that so killer. I just like flipped through a bunch of photos there. So it's just such a cool thing. Okay, I just realized that we're like going on forever. I need to read some comments. So Miguel Wood is in the house. He says, Hot Joe. He says Hillary rocks. And yes, I do know that. Angela's in the house. Angela Devaney's in the house. What's up? Aww. Kim Beavers says that she loves you. And there's just a lot of great comments here. Bethany's in the house. Cheryl Parker Goodson's in the house. A lot of people hanging out. Chris Wild is watching. I think we might know him. Hey, hey.
He's pretty cute.
Bill Paul, he's pretty cute. Bill Powell is in the house. All right. So, man, we covered a lot of ground. If you guys joined late, be sure and watch the replay because Hillary's awesome. Nicole was amazing earlier. We're just so grateful, Hillary, to have you involved with the Drummathon Fundraising Committee and your maracas and your shakers. Yeah.
I got one more request.
What's that?
Because I'm trying to come up with a really great incentive for my, stuff for
Fundraising page. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So guys, if you're out there listening, guys and gals, I need you to tell me what you would just love to see me have to do. I have kissed a pig before. I had to do that for a school function. I was the one that got the lucky voted one, but I raised a lot of money for that. So what should it be? Should I dress up for something? Should I serenade somebody? Drop it in the comments. I'm happy to do what I got to do to raise some
all
money
those
here.
things sound fun. Max does a thing where he does kamikaze karaoke, and so people. I think you donate like $20, and then if you donate $20, you can request a song, and then he'll get online and do like a karaoke. And so maybe you could do
Ooh, I
since
like
you
that.
serenading people would be kind of cool. Maybe you'd be like a $50 thing or something where somebody donates $50, you can sing that, or maybe a short little, you are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
Yeah.
Like if for $20 or something short,
Yeah. Or parody something, make up.
Oh yeah, do some like Weird Al stuff. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Now I do know all of the words to Ice Ice Baby. I have some very strange, fun things that I like to do with rapping.
Do some rap. Yeah, there you go. That's a great idea. I love that. Yeah, so you'll have to post some stuff out on the Book of Face and your other social media for some ideas and really get that ramped up. That'll be awesome. All right, girl. Man, thank you so much for joining tonight, Hillary, and for being a part of the Drummathon Fundraising Committee. You're so awesome. We're just so happy to have you be a part of the team and can't wait to work with you more and more and more. And can't wait to see you again. When's your next gig? Tell everybody your next gig.
Oh, August 12th at Waters Creek. It'll be the Slim Chance group. So come see us, all your favorites. It's a family deal, picnic, whatever, picnic in the park or don't picnic, just come sit and listen to music or whatever. But yeah.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Very cool. Well, Hillary, thanks again for joining tonight and have a great evening and we'll talk really soon, okay?
All right.
See you, girl. Bye. Awesome. All right, guys, that was Hillary, Rockstar Hillary in the house. Ironic.